It's finished. Dagenham and Redbridge 3, Altrincham 1 this afternoon at the Royal Construction Stadium. Altrincham manager Phil Parkinson joins us. Phil, let's start right at the end. An interesting move by the Altrincham fans. Came down from the stand to the barriers, and you responded to that by sending all the players going over yourself. What was all that about?
Yeah, just outstanding support again, and I just feel so bad at the moment that we're not delivering for them, and they're paying a lot of money to come and watch us. And I must apologise to one of the fans. Emotion was very high. I see him at every away game, and he's had a bit of a pop, and I've had a pop back, and I shouldn't have done, because I do really appreciate how much money people spend and the fact that they get behind this club no matter what. So I do apologise for that. I'm big enough to do that. But yeah, just outstanding support again. We're so lucky to have them.
The game itself, Dagenham started off on the front foot, and we never really got going.
Yeah, you're probably right. In the opening exchanges, it was a fight, wasn't it? And that's what I said to the players. I expect and I need to see from them that bit of fight. And I felt we did all right in the first half, believe it or not. I thought we played some good stuff under a lot of pressure, because everyone will be looking at us as a team that are vulnerable at the moment, and I understand why. We would do the same if you're losing. But I must stress again, the run of fixtures that we've had have been very difficult, but it's not acceptable. It isn't acceptable to lose 5 on the bounce. I can't dress it up. It's something where we've got to do far better. And as you said, we didn't start particularly well, probably feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves. But like I said, I thought we grew in the game and deservedly went in 1-1, and I felt confident going into the second half.
We started the second half okay. The second goal has clearly changed things, and an individual error to give the ball away in a bad position.
Well, they're the bits that have been costing us a little bit in terms of turnovers in certain parts of the pitch where we know we've got to do better. But ultimately, we're conceding too many goals at the moment, albeit we're away from home. But at the other end, we're not looking at a big enough threat either. So where I've been saying keeping clean sheets and scoring lots of goals being a big threat, it's a winning formula. We're the polar opposite at the moment, and we've got to improve. And we've got a nice run of home games where I hope the lads can get a bit of momentum and confidence. We're desperate for some of our key players to come back. It's obvious we're missing Justin massively, missing Ethan massively, and then people being in their natural positions. Lads who have done well this season being a little bit low on confidence, a little bit jaded. But listen, it wasn't about tiredness today. We're getting stung for any little detail. I mean, I felt the third one was offside as well, where you get the element of doubt goes in the defender's favour in them situations. Ultimately, it didn't. We had an offside call where he give it in their defender's favour, but that makes it 3. But it's the long throw's unforgivable. We've got to defend that much better. We were aware of it. We've practiced against them kind of scenarios all season. But when you're vulnerable and when things aren't going your way, them goals go in. And like I said, I can't dress it up and say about the travel. We've travelled, we've prepared right. The club have been fantastic. There's no excuses from our part. We're just not good enough at this moment in time, and we've got to work even harder now. This is where it's been quite comfortable most of the season. It's uncomfortable now. I'm embarrassed. I feel a bit humiliated, to be fair. Very rarely I've stood in front of you and said that. But that's where I am as a manager. I know the players are really hurting in there, and they're a great group. They're a really brilliant group, and it kills me when I have to have a go at them, because it's not deliberate. They're learning a lot of tough lessons at the moment.
It's only a fortnight ago we were 4th in the league, breathing down Barnett's neck, breathing down Barnett's neck, breathing down Bromley's neck, and it's changed very, very quickly. But we've got 11 games now, and I think we always knew, even a couple of weeks ago, that we'd have a clearer idea of where we would be after these 5 games, 4 of which have been away from home. Clearly the defeat at home to Maidenhead was a massive blow. But every game is a tough game, and Dagenham and Redbridge, you've had a difficult season to decent side today.
Yeah, it's one of the strangest leagues that I've worked in this season, because the bottom teams have all strengthened better than probably a lot of the top teams. So I'm not saying Dagenham are a bottom team, by the way, but it's so tight, the division. You look, was it Dorking that beat Chesterfield 4-1 today? It's crazy, or 4-2, whatever that ended up. it's such a tough division, and you've got to be on 100% dialed into everything you're doing, pedal to the metal all the way through. And you get found out if you're a little bit thin. And all the way through when we were winning, if you go back in any of my interviews when we've won, people ask me about this great run, and I'd always try and keep people's feet on the ground as much as I've said the words playoffs, promotion, because we're capable of it. But ultimately we're as good as a squad, and our squad's found wanting at the moment. And we're talking about one or two players, people having a dip in form. We haven't got that depth, that ability to replace them players, or to pull people out when they're struggling a little bit, to replace with like for like. And there will be a lot of teams who are saying that, and that's why the division's so tight, because everybody's beating everybody apart from Chesterfield, and they've been beat today. I look back at a lot of the results as well, trying to think, is it just us? I think Gateshead went 4 games where they got beat on the bounce. Barnet went 4 games where they got beat on the bounce. Now I think we'll probably be one of the only top teams who've gone 5. It's just not good enough, and we'll end up where we end up in terms of in the table, and the table doesn't lie. I kept saying about looking at the sort of running and the games that we've got coming up. We're just desperate to get everybody back on the pitch who are going to help us to get back to where we were. Is it going to be quick enough? I don't know. But ultimately, we'll do everything we can to do that. And like I said, with the support that we're getting, our fans deserve more as well. And a lot of the time, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'll be very defensive over what we're doing. But at the moment, we're not good enough, and we have to accept that, and we have to hold our hands up. That's everyone. That's me, the staff, the players. We've got to do better. The ones who have been good enough are our fans. There's been times when I've been at this football club, we've been booed off, we've been heckled. They're so together, and they deserve more, and we've got to give them that. And as I said at the start of the interview, all I can do is apologise and say we are working our socks off. We will get it right, we'll turn it round, but maybe we're not quite where we thought we were.
One thing we have got that is a real opportunity for us is 11 games left, 7 of which are at home. And whoever you're playing in this division, it's going to be a tough game, but having home advantage does make a difference.
Oh, it's massive, yeah. And the big thing for us will be bodies back, lads with the bit between the teeth, with a point to prove, the fans fully behind us, as they have been all season. They've been exceptional, and I applaud them. And we've got to show something. We've got to show some real gumption, some real desire, some entertainment for our fans as well, because that's what we've always sort of prided ourselves on. But ultimately, we've got to get more resilient. The young lads, they're learning. They're not babies, but the young lads in terms of the experience at the level, the age range that we've got in the team. But we've got to do better. And if they want to be top pros, if they want to help this football club get to the league, if they want to get to the league, not go the other way, which every time you play on a Saturday or a Tuesday, your job's on the line at this level. I think I'll coin the phrase that Dean Brennan used a few seasons ago, mortgage football. That's where we're at. We're all in that position. I am as a manager. I never take my job for granted. I know there'll be 100 other people who would love to take this team, this football club, and I'll fight tooth and nail to remain in the role and keep believing in what I'm doing. And that's the mentality I need from my players. Maybe they've got that used to winning, it's become a bit comfortable, and this is the hard knocks now. This is where you've really got to roll your sleeves up and bounce back.
And where are we with in terms of Justin Umlizor and Ethan Ross? Yeah,
not quite there with Justin. We're hoping that he'll be involved Tuesday. We don't know in what capacity in terms of minutes. Ethan, we're hoping he's back for Tuesday. We'll have to see though. I'm not going to do it where I hurt players long term. They've got to be ready to come back in and play. And we've been hit by a bit of illness. That's why Elliot didn't play today. Just last minute, we had to make a call because he just wasn't right, and he's desperate to help the team, desperate to help the football club. But he wouldn't have helped anyone on the pitch today. He was on his last leg. Sam Roscoe really strung. So we have had a bit of illness in the camp, and we're hoping all that bad luck that we've had can slowly come to an end now. But we're not quite there yet.
Is there any scope for bringing in new personnel?
We're always looking, but at this time of year, a lot of the ones that you would want aren't available. So you'd be chancing your arm at a young lad probably, or getting very lucky on somebody who pops up who's going to improve the team. Ultimately, we are what we are. We've got what we've got. I've said all the way through, I believe in this team. People didn't want loans. They wanted a set squad. This is what we've got, and we've got to work with them. We've got to improve them. As I said, they're a really good group. But I can't defend them, I can't defend myself, I can't defend anyone today, because we're on a really poor run of results, and the performances haven't been fantastic either, so it's not like I can say we've been performing really well. So we've got to improve on a number of fronts, but ultimately it's got to start with people coming back, and when they come back we'll be in a much better position.
And it feels like, using an analogy with a marathon race, it feels like we've got to the 17-mile mark with a really good race, and we've just hit the buffers, and we can turn it around because we've got the personnel to turn it around, but it's whether we will do it or not.
Yeah, listen, we're absolutely capable. I'm just, as I said, I'm humiliated because we've lost that amount of games on the bounce, but we've got the capabilities of turning it around. Myself and Neil's experience, we know what we're doing. It's just ultimately, can we get the players on the pitch? Can we get them in the right frame of mind? Can we set them up in every game to give ourselves the best chance? We've got a track record of doing that. The players have got a track record of delivering on that. But it's such a tough division, and we're found wanting at the moment. I can harp on about the really difficult run of fixtures with the away games. Every team are stronger at home than they are away. You've got the odd exception, but ultimately we've got to be taking as many points as possible in our home games, and we've got to improve away from home. Hopefully this is as bad as it gets in terms of one after another. We've had 2 weeks of being on the road basically, and 2 weeks of away fixtures, so it feels like the end of the world because we've lost 5, but we've had 5 games in 14 days. And that's a lot, and a lot of travelling, and people will say you've just got to get on with it, and you have, but there's no getting away from it. Look at the results, look at the performances. The lads are a bit jaded, they're a bit drained, but they're just excuses. We've got to do better if we want to do well, and we want to hit the playoffs, but we don't look like a playoff team. A playoff team doesn't lose 5 on the bounce, so maybe we're not that right now.